Live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Call of Cthulhu, a horror game for horror times. Yay!
Oh, no.
Yay! No. We are going to take you far, far away from reality, back to the 1920s San Francisco, a fun, mythos-infested era in time. Jazz was hot, gangsters ruled, everything was great, and monsters creeped about in the shadows. So, hi, yay, welcome. My name is Celeste Konowich, and I shall be your lore keeper for today. And then it was Eugenio. Yes.
Yes, it is. Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio, sometimes known as DM Jazzy Hands. Tonight, I will be playing Alejandro Huerta, the Mexican medical student and hobbyist occultist.
Just a hobby. We'll see after this game.
Yeah, well.
Go one of two ways.
And Kaylee.
Hello, I'm Kaylee Bray, also known as Hoppa Barbarian on the Twitters. I will be playing Faye. What's her Gladstone? There are too many people in my head, you guys.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, Faye Gladstone, the speakeasy jazz singer.
I'm Sage, and tonight I'll be playing Inez Martina Garcia Flores, your Chicana homicide detective, and ready to take care of business.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yes.
So
Someone's got to.
Yeah, I guess, before we get into today's episode, I think it would behoove all of us to do a quick summary of what happened last time and maybe the situation so far in general. We're on episode 3 as a reminder of this 5-part series. So this is sort of the middle core of our investigation. Things have gotten pretty strange but starting to unravel in some ways. So let's go around. Tell me, what happened to you all last time? What's going on? Jazz hands.
Truly, what didn't happen to us?
Oh, we were helping Faye here fend off this horrible invisible monster that had assaulted her. And we had just made it there, and one of the sisters who was driving with us pulled a sawed-off shotgun out from her purse and started shooting this thing, and apparently it scampered off, and so we went back to the Weaver sisters' house and to have a discussion about what in the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how did that go?
Oh, about as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not the most forthcoming of sisters at all times. So we were told that they were trying to get everybody together. This we sort of already knew before we went to look for Faye, but they were trying to get everybody together because everyone that saw that painting at the reveal the previous week was in danger. They told us that Marco, that Marco, the artist, had left town suddenly and was not available to talk to, but that maybe we could find some information at his place about where he might be or what might have happened to try and get some leads on what was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we went to his house and we found him.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
he was
did.
in super good shape. He was super chill.
Yeah, he was the
healthy,
intact.
intact.
It was fine.
I don't
Very
like that
stable.
I don't like that I have to incorrectly describe him as intact.
Yeah.
Isn't that
That's not
horrible?
That's not a thing that should be wrong.
So we
Oh my
found out that
God.
the painting did indeed have some kind of something trapped inside it affected our artist friend so badly that he ripped his own eyes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we made his way up to his house. Conveniently entered the building.
Yeah, it was open. Door was open.
There was blood and everywhere, and it looked like some kind of struggle had taken place, and there were scratch marks in the walls, and then there was this pool of blood like leading out from his painter's studio to the kitchen, and his painting studio was full of these more of these insane paintings that we were just kind of accosted with. And then we found him in the master bedroom hiding in the closet, and we had discovered that he thought if he couldn't see then he couldn't paint, and then they wouldn't continue to.
But he was wrong.
He was
wrong.
He was
Have any of
so
you
wrong.
three watched Haunting of Hill House on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, so when he did that,
Spooky.
it reminded me of, I don't know if you remember Luke's first episode where they're showing his backstory, and that army guy at rehab is telling the story about the little girl.
Oh God.
I'm not going to retell it here because it's really horrible, but basically he did the same thing as our friend Marco here, and it didn't work out for him either. Oh, that show's so good. I've watched it 4 times. Anyway,
oh my
so
God.
we were...
I watched it so long ago. I don't remember that scene, but I've been wanting to watch it again.
Oh,
I
you should
remember
watch it again.
I watched it when it first came out, and I watched it all in one sitting because I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
So
knowing where it goes and rewatching it and searching,
Oh,
it's
God.
beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyway, so we're in there and Marcos has no eyes and it's horrible. And then we hear voices or we hear a noise downstairs. Anyway, people show up and they're
Yeah,
not the
thugs.
nicest of people.
They're like, where's
and
our money, Marcos? We're like,
so our
"Oh,
reaction
fuck."
Was to
naturally
hide.
is,
It's
Bad.
but really badly.
So well, but very
Horribly.
badly.
so poorly.
Faye was behind a translucent curtain or something.
I was under the
remember-
bedclothes. I
That's
was hiding
right.
under the covers.
That's right.
It was ridiculous.
I was behind the desk, except I wasn't really behind the desk. Half of me was sticking out. It was bad.
I am really I'm glad that that they didn't come into the painter studio, because I was also terribly obscured, like standing behind an easel.
Yeah, an easel that's too small, like a canvas that's like a foot by foot. And you're like, I'm good. Anyway.
I can't see them. They can't
Yeah.
see me.
So what happened with that? Do you remember you learned one of their names?
Oh.
Oh, we did.
The small sort of androgynous looking person had referred
Oh,
to the
yes.
very big silent man as Pookie.
As Pookie,
Oh.
that's right. That's
Forgot
right.
about Pookie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pookie picked me up by the neck. Pookie and I aren't
Yeah.
getting along
Yeah,
right now.
strong.
We had a
Yeah,
fight.
strunk. Pookie was strunk.
Strunk.
There was
so
much implied violence.
Yep.
There was a lot of implied violence. They seemed fairly unconcerned about Marco's lack of eyes, as I recall.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they took him, I think, right? They took him away. They took him away, and so we went to, like, I don't know, give chase. It's unclear what our plan was, but we went outside, and our doozy was gone. Our car was gone, as was our driver, Vlad.
Vladimir?
Vladimir.
Vladimir.
Yeah, just gone. So I think we called the sisters and we were like, "Yo,
Help?
Vlad's gone," and they were like, "Sorry,"
You're like, what? And they sent a cab around for you.
because what else are we gonna do?
Yeah. So that is where we are picking up. So right now, as a reminder, it is 1928, San Francisco. We are in November, so it's pretty cold. So this morning, as you were waiting, it's a Sunday morning. You had set off pretty early to go look around Marco's house after sort of securing, a order that you can go on the premises, and as you got it casually cleared with your office. So you are kind of stamping your feet and chilly in this cold, like, San Francisco morning. You're also on Sea Cliff, which is a cliff that overlooks the ocean. So right now the mist is thick, and from far down below you can hear the crashing of waves. But it's just that got cold, chilly, seep to your bone sea air as you are standing a couple doors down outside a house that you use the phone for, waiting for your cab to show up. And that's where we're beginning. So what's happening while we're waiting for this car?
Ines is just kind of like looking around awkwardly, like completely just unsure of how to deal with the situation and everything. It's just like, well, I got their license plate number.
Half of it.
Oh, right.
Can you use that? Are they going to ask questions about you doing that using police resources, or?
Well, these are clearly people who do all kinds of criminal business. So.
If you no, please.
Sorry.
No, please.
No, it's a pass.
I just want to point out that whatever Marco is involved in is obviously a problem and almost certainly criminal. But I'm not entirely sure whether those people have anything to do with the problem that we're trying to solve. I mean, they seemed rather not like big scary space lizards that are infiltrating paintings. I don't know much about what's going on, but it just feels like maybe we have two diverging roads, as the poet said, and we should take the one more horrible.
But what if whatever is affecting Marco and whatever affected Dot affects these people? They're dangerous without it.
That's a very good point.
Don't forget, Alejandro, you also have a big stack of notes and books and stuff that you took from
how could I forget?
Office.
Well, how about these then? Ines, do you think you could get to work on the license plate, and while you sort of rustle up whatever that is information-wise, I can start to page through these when we get back to the house.
Yes, definitely. While these individuals are certainly up to no good, I would rather that we had Marco because I think we still might be able to learn more from him. And I don't think, for no matter what he's done, he should be left with those people who clearly don't plan to do great things to him.
Fair point. Fair point. Is there any chance we could swing by my apartment on the way? I have a lot of other books, and I would like to cross-reference a few things. Some of those symbols, I don't know. I can't say they look familiar because I never, honestly, would rather just never see them again. But there may be some information that I have from. It doesn't matter why I have these books. Let's just go with they might be important right now.
She's just like nodding, so like
We're not paying for the cab.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. As you all kind of make this agreement, you do see a cab like pull sharply around this like turn going up this hill.
My God, I hope that's not ours.
Yeah, and this woman who's, probably like in her late 30s or so, like her hair is starting to gray. You can see her fingertips are just like yellow with cigarette stains. She like pulls up and like, and a butt gets thrown out the window. She looks at you. She's like, for Weaver.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
us.
yep,
Sure, yeah, sure.
That's sure. Yep, off we go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get in the cab.
Okay.
Waits for you.
Oh,
We
I
need to
think we
make
all
a-
sort of
a-
stared at each
yeah.
other.
What?
We need to make a quick stop before we reach the final destination.
All right. It's going to cost you extra. Where do you want to go?
And I'll give her the address of the apartment complex that I'm living at.
All the way fucking across town. Okay. All right. Great. Yeah. And she like revs on the pedal. And you start whipping around again and like driving past all these like very nice houses that kind of top this area. As she circles back down and begins to head off towards the Presidio. And about 10 minutes or so, you pull up the very harried as she makes a very short stop right in front of your building, and she kind of smacks her gum at you. It's like, you getting off, or do you want me to wait?
Just hold on just a minute. I'll be very quick.
Okay.
I'll be in and out. And
Sure,
I step
buddy.
out and
she like pats her time clock again on her car and looks at you.
I get out and sort of stumble a step after that ride and then run inside and very quickly just sort of grab everything. I don't know what I'm going to need because I haven't had a chance to look at these notes yet, but I'll just grab everything I can carry from my little the back of the closet where I keep all my non-medical textbooks.
Sure.
Do you need help?
Yeah.
No, definitely not. No, thank you. Nope.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you give me a general summary of the sort of things you're grabbing?
A lot of it probably actually has nothing to do with what we're seeing here. I know, but I don't know that Alejandro does. A lot of what I have are more native Mexican, so Aztec and Purepecha and some Mayan and Incan books and tomes and scrolls and things like that. Mostly history, but my grandmother was something of, well, she's supposed herself something of a shaman. And so there are also some of her journals and diaries and her own writings in there. From that, there are like a couple of occult books from other cultures, just because I have always been curious about how the traditions and occult stories of different cultures link together, because I am convinced that there is some sort of truth across the world in these things. So there's, maybe some Egyptian things in there and something from Eastern Europe and things like that. But most of it is primarily Latin American shamanism and occultism.
So for the record, you would say you are sort of familiar casually with ancient cultures.
I think so. Yeah. Definitely casually, particularly lately. It's been all about, med school. But yeah, it was something that like grandma sort of made me fascinated in when I was growing up as a kid with her tribe's cultures. And then from there, the interest grew.
Sure. Good to know. All right. So you pile up your stuff. And while Alejandro runs in, the lady who's driving your cab, who has not introduced her name, kind of like leans back and looks between both of you and sort of like pops a bubble. You want to smoke?
Today I would.
And she spits her gum out of the window and then lights one for herself and then kind of throws one at you.
Could I have a light?
Oh, and she holds her lit cigarette towards you.
Perfect. Yeah, do the thing.
Yeah. On the corner. She's like, how about you, doll?
Not now, but thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have you had good fares today?
No.
And I'll reach into my coin purse and I'll like take out $1 and you crisply fold it in half and hand it to her for the cigarette.
Yeah. She takes it and she looks at you and like sort of gives an appreciative mouth noise. And then it's at this point, Alejandro, as you're kind of like exiting back from your room, Doris was sitting at the desk at front, so Mrs. Armfelt, just managing her papers, and she's like, "Oh dear, Alejandro, you weren't back last night for mealtime. Are you all right? I was worried about you. Are you going to be back? You look in such a hurry.
Oh, Doris, you're so sweet. I am okay. I'm so sorry that I didn't let you know that I wouldn't be here. I'm in a bit of a hurry. We've got a big test coming up at school, and it's a study group, and we're really just sort of buckling down and cramming for the exam. But I'll be back in a day or two. You don't have to worry. Thank you. It's good to see you, though. Have a nice night.
Okay, then I won't. Oh, okay. Goodbye, dear. And her reedy voice follows you out as you burst back out onto the street.
She's just the sweetest.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't die.
Why would you say that?
Well,
it's not like it's happened before.
Right.
And so you can pile back into the cab, and the driver looks around. She's like, anywhere else?
Just to the Weaver residence.
Okay. And she does kick it into gear, and the car kind of shudders forward. She seems to drive a little bit more conservatively.
Made a friend.
After Inez gave her $1. And so eventually, it's another 15 minutes or so until you pull up into the now all too familiar Victorian that is home to the Weaver sisters. And as you get pull up here, you see sitting on the wraparound porch in a rocking chair, you see Alice, who's sort of she's leaning forward and puffing away on this little ivory pipe on the front porch. And as she the cab pulls up, she stands up and she just waves at you from the porch.
I'll throw $20 at the cab driver for the fare.
Oh.
She's like, damn. Thanks.
You just threw $634 in today's money.
God, have a nice day.
I forgot about inflation.
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely looking up.
I don't think Inez would have that much money because look at your wealth on your.
That's a lot of money.
That's legit. Oh, I was kidding, but it's legit. $302.55.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking money. So, on your character sheet, whatever your wealth score is, will actually tell you how much spending cash you have. Yeah, so there's a whole breakdown in the book of what moderate means. I think that general, I think all of you have $15 on hand that you could.
Oh,
okay.
You could.
So
you spend one of them on a cigarette.
Yeah, that's
she would do
also
a time equivalent of here's fare plus a good tip in 1920s.
Nice.
So $5.
Even
I don't know.
$2 would be
yeah.
nice.
$2.
Yeah. So she's yeah, this dame is great. And she'll take your money and kind of like give you a salute, and then like throws her car into gear and gets the hell out of there before you can change your mind. And then Alice is waving at you like, I'm so glad all of you are alive. What happened? Where's Vlad?
We should go inside. We'll tell you all about it. Let's go inside.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And she like dumps out, the ash like in this little like seafoam glass tray she had like on the thing, and it's like she's like and worries inside after you. She's like, well, things here have not been going great. Apparently everybody's very upset and didn't want to stay, so it's just us now, and everybody's just off
Oh boy.
doing their thing. Kathy headed out to try and convince them otherwise, or if they refused to stay here, then she insisted on going with them, and so here we are. Are you hungry?
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, and she's like, okay, let's go to the kitchen and catch up.
All right.
Okay.
And she just starts kind of petering around.
Faye, would you mind giving her the update on everything that happened while I go and begin paging through these notes? And Ines, if you want to work on the license plate.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. And she'll turn to Alice. The phone was in the entryway, right?
Oh, yes, just right over there. Yes.
All right. Yeah. If you don't mind me using it.
Oh no. If you would like, there's one actually upstairs in my room. If you require, privacy.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Ines will head off. Go find the telephone.
Sure. Yeah. Do you want to use the one in the hall or the one upstairs? They're very wealthy. They have two.
They have two.
No kidding.
Yeah. She'll go up to the one upstairs in the room.
Okay. Yeah. So you do go upstairs, and you all had kind of like you had been sort of shoved into like a den sort of library space upstairs, so you kind of go hunting for like which one is the bedroom. And you're opening up some of these doors, and like each of the sisters has just a whole thing going on. You see like one room is like horrendously gothic, like as you look at it, like black like curtains and like dried roses and all of this shit going on. And then you get to one that like clearly they're very into the sort of like Asian silks and like silk panels and the whole like there's cranes and roses on like everything. And then you get to another room that looks sort of like if you were to imagine your grandma's sewing room, what that looks like and smells like, with just like crafting stuff everywhere and like stuff to make baskets and all kinds of stuff. You see like in the middle on this big sewing table that's just covered in yarn and like scraps of fabric is a phone.
She like peels over these piles.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of kicking your way. You see like a little path has been carved where someone can kind of like shove themselves in between the stacks of crap.
Oh yeah, and so yeah, she'll pick up the phone and dial the.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess Inez, let's go ahead and start with you. You you calling the station?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, the phone rings. Rings like 3-4 times, which is pretty long to wait. And then at the other end, you're, what?
Hey, I was wondering, I've got what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to tip on some gangsters who have kidnapped someone. And I'll give the description of the car that they were driving and be like, and this is the license plate numbers. Give me any matches.
I mean, Christ, Inez, I'm still dealing with this search warrant I got pushed across my desk. What the hell is that all about?
I'm working on something big right now, and I can't tell you exactly everything that's going on, but this it's gonna connect a lot of weird activity that's been happening in the city.
Okay, like, I mean, you're just out on this murder case, or like what? Can I expect? Is that connected? I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's connected. So I'm gonna be working on this. I mean, I got some leads, but got a lot of stuff to dig through.
Okay, well, you damn well better. We found another one this morning.
Another one.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Sandy Lamott. Mean anything to you?
Not that nothing comes to mind immediately. Where did you find her?
Well, she's some kind of photographer or something. I don't know. Janitorial staff came into her studio. She was just dead right there on the floor. Same MO, it looks like. Nothing wrong with the body, but I don't know.
Yeah. Give me the address. I'm gonna go check it out myself.
Okay. We're still clearing things up there, but the body's already gone. But if you want to take a look, I don't know. I didn't know where the hell you were. I left you like 30 messages.
Shit. Sorry.
All right. Okay. Well, let him know to expect you. But I guess I don't know. Let me know if you need anything. If your ass isn't in here Monday to help me with that fucking paperwork, I don't know, Inez. I don't know.
You got it. You got it. Anything for you, Frank.
All right. Okay. Bye. And the phone hangs up.
She's just kind of like, shit. I'm gonna have to buy 2 whole boxes of donuts to make this.
And Inez, it's like basically as soon as you put down the phone, it begins to ring.
She picks it up.
Okay. And you hear, madam.
Vlad?
Excuse me. Could you please put one of the madams on the phone?
Yeah. Are you okay? Where are you?
I
I'm a
am
little surprised.
quite all right. Those miscreants who abducted Marco, I figured I should tail them.
Oh, excellent.
So smart.
I have their location. I do hope I did not put you out too much by leaving you. I thought time was of the essence.
You are a wise and wonderful man. Thank you, Vlad. I will grab Alice. She is downstairs. One moment, and she'll run back down to the kitchen.
Yeah. And Alice at this point, she's been shuffling around Faye, sort of like finding.
And then he had no eyes, and
yeah, and she's like trying to like make a sandwich and listen to you, and it's just like she's like stabbed down through the bread, and it was like, oh my god,
There are 3 inches of mayonnaise.
yeah, and she's just like, she's listening, riveted, and like kind of slides this weird looking sandwich in front of you, just as Inez like reaches downstairs. Yeah. Oh, yes, dear. Sorry. Did the phone work?
Oh, yes.
Sometimes I can't hear people on the other end, and I worry that my connection is bad.
Oh, no, everything worked fine, but Vladimir is on the phone for you, so I left the receiver on the table for you upstairs.
Oh, he's not dead. That's fantastic.
No,
and
he's done quite a good job, actually.
Wonderful. Well, let me be and there are sandwiches for you. And she points at like 2 other suspicious-looking piles of bread and other things on the counter, and then shuffles upstairs. All right, and then Alejandro, what's been up? What are you doing?
I think first step is to go through the notes and everything and find, pull out what's very obviously irrelevant, what's, I don't know, normal business stuff or normal correspondence, things that are obviously mundane, and then start going through the rest. I'm not going to worry too much about my stuff until I have a better idea of what's in Marco's stuff.
Sure. So I'll go ahead and ask you to roll me something for the first hour of looking at
Yeah.
these. So what would you like to use as you kind of look at
I
all
mean,
these?
it's not exactly the same because I'm not having to find the books myself, but how do we feel about library use?
I
It's
think,
not quite
yeah,
it.
that's not quite it. I would go ahead and go with, looking at these skills
See.
here.
Yeah.
Um,
Spot hidden locksmith library. There's not like a
Occult
research, is
would be
there?
a good one.
I could do a cult. Yeah, I could do that. Well,
If
I
you,
shouldn't get too excited.
yeah, if you wanted to go ahead and like try and like do something like psychology or psychoanalysis, that might be good.
Oh, I could do psychology, at least for the first bit, to just sort of figure out what's rubbish and what might be useful.
I'll tell you, an anthropology might be good here too. There's a
Oh,
lot of different ways to. So I'll sort of like the general impression you're getting from these notes is they this main bulk of the document of what you have, it starts out as a pretty recognizable journal. It is an artist journal, so it's a lot of like describing dreams and feelings and projects and yeah, just sort of these like odd, he was also a surrealist artist.
Right.
So like it's hard to tell at exactly what point, things shift from day-to-day Marco to like been affected by something Marco and the
Sure.
madness sort of spirals. So that's one angle you could go at it from. You also do see like it included in this stack are a lot of like geometric texts and things about like architecture and things like that. So you could take like the mathematical sort of bent here. You also see a lot of very strange and bizarre symbols that begin to appear all over the text. And all of these things sort of like braid into each other where it's like he probably just had all these things open and was just writing, these entries across multiple books and patterns. And so you're definitely going to need to spend a few hours.
Totally.
With all this.
In that case, okay, that's great. I think then let's start with psychology to just try and look through and really pinpoint where things started to go off the rails so that we have some sort of a timeline for this thing.
Sure. Yeah. So go ahead and roll me that psychology.
Right. Ooh, that's an 8. So that'll do.
An uber
That is
success.
exactly my uber success. Yeah. I have a 40 in psychology.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to say that will designate your first hour. So where have you kind of set up your research
I think
station?
probably in that den library that they shoved us in the first time. Okay. Just because it's familiar and, I probably has surfaces that I can spread out on.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that's what you're kind of doing over the next hour.
Absolutely.
You're going to be just pouring over this. So we jump back down to, Faye and Inez in the kitchen right now. And upstairs you hear a, uh-huh. All right. I see. Got it. When will you be home? I see. Got it. Well, thank you so much, dear. You take a little break. Why don't you? You get some of those pierogies you like. Okay. Wonderful. All right. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, dear. And hangs up the phone, like shuffling, comes back downstairs. Oh, well, Vladimir has apparently tracked these brigands that you encountered to North Beach, some kind of a Italian restaurant.
I knew it.
Giorgiano's.
Oh no.
So apparently they took Marco inside, and well, he's been waiting for about an hour, and well, that's it. The restaurant isn't open yet to the public, so I don't know. That's a rough part of town, so perhaps there's more going on than meets the eye.
I should definitely like to go over there. I don't expect you or Alejandro to come with me, but
I don't know. It keeps going back to Little Italy, and Dot was seeing a guy at Vesuvio's, which it's in that neighborhood too. If there's some kind of connection, I can call my friend Terry. He used to work security at another speakeasy before he played with us. He might know more about who these people are, what they're like.
That's an excellent idea.
Nice.
I should probably do that now, right? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Alejandro seems busy, so we'll check with him.
Yeah, Alejandro, when you like looked in on him, he's like on the floor, like pulling like out texts and like laying them next to each other. Yeah, what's the connection? Yeah, so Faye, yeah, you want to go ahead and give Terry, and what does Terry do in your band?
He plays the bass.
Bass.
Yep, right, bass.
Okay. What is Terry like?
He looks like he should be working security. He's definitely big guy, kind of a bruiser. A little bit surprised to see him playing in a band, but it's what he always wanted to do.
Heck yeah. Yeah, you can definitely give him a call, and the phone rings, and you know, you hear Terry's sort of gentle voice over the phone, like, hi, this is Terry.
Hi, Terry, it's Faye.
Oh, Faye, how are you?
You know, but it's been a time.
Yeah, no, for sure. Oh, what's up? We don't have a gig I'm forgetting, right?
No. Well, first of all, I was hoping you would tell the rest of the band. They found Dot.
Oh, okay, where was she?
They pulled her out of the harbor, Terry.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they know who did it?
No. But you know that guy from Vesuvius?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't like know him,
Yeah,
but
I know we were planning to go out there. And I got some rough vibes from a guy from that neighborhood. He went by Pookie.
Pookie. Oh. Okay.
Looks like you guys were maybe in the same line of work at some point. I was wondering if you know anything about him. I know I really shouldn't be running this down myself, and I've got other people with me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Faye, like that's a rough. I mean, okay. Like if you're gonna, do you want me to cut? Like I can come over. I can. I mean, if you think this guy killed Dot, then
I don't know. I don't think he did, but I think it's my only. I'm grasping at straws here anyway, and I weirdly have a cop with me, so I think I'm mostly okay.
You hear like a sharp inhale.
I know. So it's also probably better that she doesn't run into you, if you know what I mean. But if I need you, I'll call you, I promise.
Okay, I mean, yeah, Pookie, God, I can't believe he's still going by that. Never knew the guy's real name. He just didn't talk much, but yeah, no, he was on the circuit, kind of bounced around different speakeasies. I think he's working for Regina Durant now. She's one of the big times, not someone you should mess with. Yeah, I think she's got something going on. Club Durant. I know it's changed locations a couple times, so I'm not really sure what's going on, but she's not someone you want to cross Dot, so I don't know.
What kind of business does she specialize, or is it a little bit of everything?
She has a couple different speakeasies she has her hands in, but I don't know. Yeah, just it's different restaurants, it's different bars. Kind of have, in North Beaches, they sort of have their hands in everything, right? I know she's got sort of an antiques thing on the side that she does. She's one of the real educated ones,
Antiques, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
She's got big connections.
Okay. Like government, like overseas, like what kind?
All kinds.
Good to know.
Yeah, just be real careful. She's not someone you want to piss off, Dot. I mean it.
I have done okay so far, so
Okay,
wish
you
me
call
luck.
me if you need. Where are you?
I
Where can I call you? Like, you're not at your place?
yeah,
I've left some
I'm
messages.
I am yeah, I'm sure I'm at the Weavers right now. You know remember those three old ladies who threw that weird party with the painting that everyone went a little nuts?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
What?
I'm with them right now. I yeah,
Okay.
it's a long story, T. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, you just call me, okay? If you need anything. Like, no problem. Just drop everything. Just get over there, okay?
Okay,
Okay. Stay safe. Keep that cop with you, I guess.
I will. I'm armed too. You know me.
That's my girl.
All right.
All right.
Bye, T.
Stay safe. Bye.
You too.
Hangs up the phone. And so Inez, while Alice has kind of been in the kitchen, you know, handing over the sandwich, she's sort of like, yeah, putting her fingers together and looking at you, like,
And Inez Lasker. So, where exactly did Vladimir say he tracked these brigands down to?
um, some Italian place. Yeah, Giorgiano's.
All right, noted. I think
Not
might be where we're headed next.
Right, unfortunately, not a neighborhood I'm well acquainted with. Otherwise, I could help you out a little bit more, but she kind of looks at you and like sort of scoots down like into the like, you know, the little nook chair next to you at this table, and she reaches out and pats your hand. She's like, "You're handling this remarkably well, my dear. Congratulations."
And Inez will like pat her hand back a little bit and was like, "Well, while I've never seen anything like this on the job, I have seen pretty terrible things."
It's a shame about Marco. He was such a talented boy.
So you're very much into the cult. Do you?
What gave you that impression?
Inez kind of like rolls her eyes, like, "Okay, not gonna touch that." She's like, well, with Marco and with his painting, have you heard or read anything about creatures that move through paintings or images? Or
Oh,
I think that might be what we're dealing with here.
have you read The Picture of Dorian Gray? It's a fantastic novel.
No, I never got around to that one.
Oh, well, it's sort of it's about a man who draws or has a portrait of himself sort of magically made, and so the portrait ages instead of him. It's a phenomenal work of fiction, but sort of the only thing I can think of in terms of paintings. And no, that's all very strange. She's sort of like tapping her chin thoughtfully.
Have you heard of a photographer by the name of Sandy? I know you seem to be more into ancient relics and paintings here, but I thought
You met Sandy. She was one of the people here just yesterday.
Oh, you're right. Do you happen to remember where you picked her up from?
Well, she was Lillian took care of that. I'm not sure. She might have been in her studio. She spends a lot of time there. She's very devoted. Extremely talented individual. Again, it's just such a delight to have at our little gatherings. But of course, you know, when there was this big storm off early this morning, shortly after you left. Couldn't keep track of them anymore. I'm not sure where Kathy's doing her best to try and get them back, get these people protected, but...
Well, you don't have to worry about Sandy any longer.
Oh, God. We tried to...
But if you have any information on any of the remaining people, I would like to try and be able to get to them, hopefully before whatever else does.
Yes, of course. And she, starts sort of thinking. She's the one who has a little bit of trouble seemingly remembering people's names. So she's like squinting very hard and trying to think back. Yes, there was Sandy and, of course, Malcolm. And then that bellhop boy, Sam?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean, those were the ones we could find that were still in San Francisco and haven't already gone missing or, of course, gone somewhere else, despite our best efforts. And I mean, quite seriously, Inez, I don't know if we can keep us safe, let alone others. But it seems we're working on a very short timeline.
We're all doing our best.
Indeed. Yeah, and I think at this point, Faye, you can... What do you do after the call ends?
I think I hang up the phone. Just pick my way back.
Yeah, like throw
out of the room,
stuff, kind of clear off.
Take like a quick look around to see if there's anything interesting in here.
Oh, there's a lot of interesting things in here. It looks like there's like a dress form that's been set up in this room that looks like it's in hazmat suits aren't a thing in the 1920s, but it looks like a hazmat suit is being built on one of these like dress forms. It's like this weird vinyl sort of suit, like with this big sort of space looking helmet.
Kind of like a diving bell, but
yeah, exactly. And you're like,
I'm just like,
yeah, it's rubbery. It's weird to touch.
And then I feel like I just like go walk back, take a peek at the one, see the Asian one.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, make it back downstairs. I found something out, sort of.
Oh.
What did you find out?
Terry knew Pookie. He said he's working for a woman named Regina Durant, I think.
Regina Durant, which is a name, Inez, you would certainly recognize. She's sort of like a kingpin that rules up, like... But she's one of, like, the real clever mobsters that, very good at putting her money in just the right places and knowing the right people and paying the right people to do very, very well for herself.
It's my white whale.
Yep.
Yeah. So I assume that maybe she's the one we met earlier.
Fascinating. You see Inez immediately, like, her eyes just, like, perk up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You would know Inez's general description. I mean, Regina is, like, a high society, like, gorgeous, like, first-gen Italian woman. Probably wouldn't be caught dead doing her own dirty work. Just as a...
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But... also apparently she's in... Terry said something about antiquities. And that makes me... That would be the only... I don't know, maybe Marco was forging something for her? We took something?
Inez will turn her head to Alice. Have you had dealings with Miss Durant?
Oh, no. Certainly not.
Looking around at, like, the African fertility sculpture.
Yeah. She's like,
really?
Regina has traveled in similar circles as herself. From what I know of her, she's a woman who enjoys culture, just as we do. Though we have not bought anything knowingly from her.
I'm not gonna lock you up for it. I'm just trying to get information.
I honestly haven't, my dear, but I will say I have been at the occasional museum or gala opening that Regina is also in attendance at. That's the best I can do. I've never actually had a one-on-one conversation with the woman. I thought she was delightful, if not terrifying. And powerful.
That she is.
She's a liberated woman, as are we. She looks and kind of smiles, at Faye and Inez, and is like,
It's like stick my thumbs in my pants,
Yeah,
my pants, and like, oh, I'm a square.
Anyway, and then let's bounce up to Alejandra here. It's probably been, you're 20, 30 minutes into this at this point.
Great. Oh, no.
So what you have here in front of you, it seems like about 3 weeks ago, everything was fine, cooking along normal in this pattern you're now getting used to of like sort of who Marco is and the way he processes information and journals. That's when things get to start a little bit weird in terms of the journal. You're noting Marco keeps meticulous like dream diaries for every day, which was normal before the 3-week period. But you start noticing that these dream diaries get very strange. They all of a sudden take this sort of, it's no longer like poetic and meandering. It sort of becomes very, very specific details about bizarre locations. And he keeps referencing these places. He doesn't know how, but they're underwater or they're far away, and these voices and these reoccurring themes that start like these very, very similar dreams he's having day after day of this strange place somewhere beneath the waves and some great being speaking to him. That becomes a very common theme. And then the motif of like serpents and snakes starts coming up a lot in all of this. And like at a certain point, the journaling just stops, like after about, so 2 weeks ago, just end to meaningful daily journaling, and it just becomes like this weird like trail of conspiracy theories that you're not really sure how they connect. You're like, he's pointing at like pictures of like the Parthenon and being like this, like the geometry and like strange, and he's like circling back. He's like the voice, like underwater, and like all these references to strange things and all these different symbols start appearing all over, and they're all referencing back with these like mad arrows towards like this voice and this thing and everything going on. So with your psychology check successfully, you can like see this steep about 3 weeks ago. This all happened. At 2 weeks, it started to get very, very bad. And then the last week or so, you're not even sure, like, if it was this week or if it's all information from last time. Like, it's become so scattered and so just beyond the bounds of human, like, normalcy. Actually, while you're reading all of these notes, too, I think you should go ahead and probably make a sanity check.
I was wondering how long I was going to last.
This just
Yeah.
wild stuff, and you're reading about like beings from beyond the stars and like these strange just algebra equations, and it's how are you dealing with just this madness on paper that you're immersed in?
Yeah. Much like I have learned to deal with like particularly horrible like ER trauma and stuff that I've learned, it is all very academic. In fact, this is almost easier because I don't have it in front of me. Like, I'm sure his descriptions are extremely vivid and disturbing, and obviously there is, a touch of the eldritch, I'm sure, but I'm very practiced at keeping it all written stuff, keeping it very academic. And so every now and again, like when I start to get really pulled into the story that's happening in front of me, I'll just like set it all aside for a minute or two, just like not look at it anymore. I don't know, maybe look at some of the other books in the library and then come back to it with fresh research eyes rather than sort of emotional eyes.
Sure. Yeah, and like as you're, kind of taking these breaks, and it's like one of those later breaks when you're just like, I just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like looking around this den and just sort of looking at this bookshelf that has a bunch of these like little statues on it, of sort of these ancient Egyptian gods. You're seeing like depictions of like Horus and like Isis, and on this shelf, that it suddenly occurs to you that a bunch of the symbols you've been looking at, they look a lot like hieroglyphics. Like weird, untrained versions of drawing the things that you've seen before in these books, and just in your casual reading, you've done like the cartouche of your name, which is like the first step everyone does when they get into Egyptology, and you're like, whoa. So that realization sort of hits you.
So I think since I'm taking a break to sort of clear my mind anyway, I think I'll make my way back downstairs and just check in on the other two and or the other three rather, and see sort of where they've gotten with their own investigations and stuff.
Yeah. So I think we all kind of meet back at this point with everything collected.
Which sisters with this, Alice?
Alice.
Oh, do
yes,
it.
It's Alice.
Do it. Okay. All right. Great. Well, without giving too many unnecessary details, because they're quite horrible, it seems that all of this started round about 3 weeks ago, and then took a turn for the worse about 2 weeks ago. So we have a timeline, and when Alice returns, we can ask her if she knows anything that might have occurred around 3 weeks ago. But what have you all found?
We know who has Marco.
Oh, you have done very well since I've been upstairs. How was I up there?
It's a mobster named, a society woman named Regina Durant in Little Italy.
Back to Little Italy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're keeping Marco at a restaurant called Giorgiano's. Apparently, Vladimir is there. He that's why he was gone when we came out. Is he went to immediately trail these two thugs.
We underestimated him.
Agreed. I'm quite pleased to find out that this is so much better than I thought. And a woman who was here yesterday, that the Weaver sisters had gathered, Sandy, a photographer, she is now dead.
No.
What?
They've found another one.
What was the cause of death? Do you know?
Same as Dot.
Well, that almost certainly clinches it then, because I can tell you, Faye, I'm very sorry, but your friend, she was not killed by any person.
Well, I guess I have no idea. I have no idea what to do with that information.
I know. I don't either.
Wait, Alejandro, yesterday you were asking me about a weird morgue case that came in. What was? Do you remember what they had said? How they died?
Yes, it was the strangest thing, which, well, I should say it was the strangest thing when I first found out about it. Now that's a whole different scale to measure by. But when I found out about it, they said apparently her body was completely fine, but her brain had liquefied within her skull.
That must have been Dot.
Oh,
I think we should
Oh no.
perhaps take a trip to the county morgue. You don't have to, as she like holds up a hand to Faye. It's like, you don't need to do this if you don't want to.
no. No, I can't. Someone has to. Someone who knows what happened to her should.
And yeah, and since you knew her, it will be helpful to make sure that this is indeed her. To have you identify her. So
Okay. Dot had a connection to Little Italy too.
that
She was seeing a guy who, hung out down there, his neighborhood. Do you think that photographer lady maybe was in Little Italy too?
Did they say where they whereabouts she lived or
Her studio. Yeah.
Yeah, so her studio is sort of like on Valencia, so not too far away,
Okay.
actually, Inez, from where you live.
Okay, yeah, cool. No, not that I know of so far. Yeah, she actually lived not too far from me.
Okay.
So it
Uh,
seems like we either should see what we can glean from where she was from her studio, or to try and get Marco and apparently go after Regina. What do you all think?
Well, now that Alice has come back to us, I wanted to ask, from what I can tell from Marco's journals, Alice, I don't know how well you knew him and how much time you spent with him, but it seems that whatever happened to him started about 3 weeks ago. And then about 2 weeks ago, things sort of took a much bigger turn for the worse. Can you think of anything that Marco might have been involved in or that happened about that time?
Well, I mean, we knew him, of course. We've supported his work for a long time, but I mean, I wouldn't call us day-to-day friends. I do
Of
know
course, of course.
he was an up and coming artist, so he frequently traveled. Was always in and out of the country. Had friends all over the place.
You don't happen to know, did any of his travels take him to Egypt recently?
Oh, who knows what the phase going on? Everyone's King Tut crazy these days. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not exactly
No,
sure.
that's all right. That's all right. From what I can tell, like I said, things started about 3 weeks ago, escalated 2 weeks ago, and you have some lovely statuary upstairs.
Yes.
Isis and Horus and Anubis.
Yes.
Well, they got me to thinking
Mhm.
about some of the symbols that we have seen and that I found in his journals, and I have reason to believe that at least some of what he was experiencing was causing him to see things or to write down in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, not particularly skillfully, but that is what they look like to me. I don't know. Do you don't happen to be able to translate or have any sort of experience with Egyptology? I suppose, like you said, it is all the craze nowadays.
It is. I would consider myself a casual reader. If you're actually looking to decipher glyphs or something, I'm afraid that might be a little bit out of my wheelhouse. But I could absolutely speak to some of my friends, see who's in town. I do know they have that building close to the Palace of Fine Arts. That's that the wonderful Egyptian exhibit down there. Perhaps a curator or someone I can get in touch with might know something.
It might be helpful. I am a little reluctant to show these writings to too many people. They've been very difficult for me to spend any time with, and we've already lost 2 guests after the painting, and I don't know what effect these journals would have, and it makes me a little nervous to show them to sort of spread whatever this is.
Well, how about this? It sounds like you all have quite a few plans in mind. I will spend time with these notes, and I can copy down the symbols as they are. Just just so we can pull the symbols to show to an expert and perhaps, well, I want to do something to help.
That would be fantastic, and I will leave you. Like I said, they're not not all of them could I recognize immediately. They are not obviously written by a native writer, I suppose. So what I will do is I have a small book of symbols and such. I'm sure you have around as well, but I'll leave you with mine in case that'll be helpful to decipher some of what Marco was trying to draw.
Yes, of course, and I will do my best and get this all put together and hopefully have someone who can help you. I do have a few favors I can call in, and like I said, I'm not a stranger to these circles, so I'll hopefully get you someone who can translate this for you.
Excellent.
Is there
thank you, Alice.
anything else I can do? I suspect the reason my sisters left me here while they're out doing things is I may not be. I don't know. Just whatever I can do. And she's just pushing her like mug of tea back and forth.
Oh. Well, aside from helping us get to wherever it is we end up deciding to go to pursue this, I think at the moment the best thing that you can do is help me with these notes while quite frankly, while I follow these two wherever they deem it best to go next.
Of course. And she goes like over towards a purse that's sitting on the counter and like pulls out like a fat wad of bills and puts them like down on the table. And she's like, perhaps, I know it isn't the most convenient, but traveling inconspicuously via cab might be your best option. The Duesenberg is comfortable, but not exactly subtle.
Not to mention Vladimir has it anyway.
He will be back soon, but
Oh,
again, so sorry about that. But he's a clever man, our Vladimir.
certainly.
Hopefully, what he did will help instead of hinder you. I would take it as a compliment. You all just seem so capable.
Okay. Well,
Wonderful. So, what is your plan? The
Yeah,
little keeper
where do we
asks
go?
you. It sounds like you have a few different options. So, what are we doing first?
what time is it right now?
So it's probably after all this about noon.
All right.
So I mean, you know that the restaurant would probably be opening for business around 4:35. If you want to go when it's open, as an option. Otherwise, Inez, you have permission to go to the studio whenever. The coroner's office will be open. Alejandro, you could get in there anytime.
Right.
It'd be easier, day to. Well, it depends when you want to go in terms of staff. There's always somebody
Sure.
there.
Sure.
But
I don't know. What do we think has the most new information for us?
I kind of feel like, while very tempting to go and check up with Regina Durant, seems, I don't know, not in our best interest, maybe.
Might be a little soon for that.
Yeah, but I do want to get Marcus back eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we check out the latest victim first? The most recent
The
one, I mean?
studio or the body?
The studio where her body was found, but the body, but the body is already at the morgue.
Right. I mean, my only thing about that is like, I don't know. Dot was found in the harbor, so we don't really know what happened to her. I don't know, like if it was a lingering thing from when she first saw the painting. I don't know if the studio where she like finally succumbed to whatever was happening to her will have the information. But if something else is actively happening, like we just don't know what happened to Dot. That's the problem.
Yeah, let's go to the morgue first.
Okay.
Presumably
God,
both of
Faye.
their-
Oh,
I know.
Oh,
My heart goes
God.
out to you, baby.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Here we go.
presumably both the individuals will be there, so we can,
Oh, right, yeah.
with our med student with us, we can maybe glean some.
Yeah. Yeah. And about lunchtime might be a good time because Daryl might be, sort of left to man things while the coroner's on lunch.
Daryl.
Daryl, sweet boy.
Sweet boy.
Eat
Sweet
the
Daryl.
sandwich.
Yep.
Eating his sandwich.
Should we bring him an extra sandwich?
Oh,
I didn't eat
he'll
this
be
one that Alice
fine.
made.
He'll be all right, I think.
No, Inez has eaten all of them, seeing that no one else
Oh,
touched them.
is
It's
eating-
like,
Oh!
like fucking hungry.
Shit.
Like, whatever.
And that's used to
Ugh.
that bachelor food life.
No.
Yeah. Alejandro has apparently gotten to the sleep deprivation part of med school, but not the eat what you can when you can
Yeah.
part.
Your mother raised you better than that.
Truly.
Oh, God. Yeah. All right. So we want to go ahead and call a cab and head on over to the morgue.
Think so.
Mhm.
Wonderful. And this time you get a very normal sort of cabbie,
bummer.
just like a sort of overweight guy in his 50s who's very polite, and it's just like, oh yeah, I can definitely take you to the college, and he looks kind of around at the assortment of people in his car, and he's like, so nice that all kinds of folks are going to school these days. So nice.
Yeah, it was
Nice
bound to
to
happen
see that.
eventually.
Yeah. And
Inez is just like, she's just like thinking in her mind, like, I never made it past the 8th grade. Like, what?
yeah. And eventually, he'll just he hums the whole time, as
Oh,
he's
God.
driving the car.
I miss the other woman.
Yeah. And eventually, pulls up in front of the main building. He's like, well, should I park here? Is there somewhere else that'd be more convenient for you?
No, this is great. We can walk
This is fine.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I get out of the car.
real quick.
Yeah. He kind of looks expectantly, like a
him
hand
a-
that creeps.
Give him a buck.
Yeah. He's like, have a lovely day.
Mm,
Uh-huh.
mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah, you're in front of that main, sort of health sciences medical building.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can walk inside the familiar doors, and you do know that to get into the coroner's office, it does require a badge.
Sure.
So what's your plan?
Is
I'm a cop. I do what I want.
oh
PD.
I was
sure.
gonna say,
Yeah, I mean you can if you want to strong arm it. I don't.
Oh,
we have
yeah.
a golden ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
she's
mean, I'll
gonna-
lead you over there and just sort of, to lend some air of credibility as someone who's sometimes in the vicinity. But yeah, go for it by all means.
You see that sitting kind of in front of this area that leads down towards medical storage and then the coroner's office and everything. You recognize Lindsay, who is she's just taken med school very casually. You think she just isn't actually interested in being a doctor or a nurse or anything, but her parents have a lot of money, and so
Yeah.
she's just she's been in med school for 10 years, and
Oh my God.
it's just not. And yeah, she walks up, she's like, oh hey Alejandro,
Lindsay,
hey,
it's good to see you.
Yeah. Oh, it's good to
Look,
see you.
we need to go back and well, is Daryl working right now by any chance?
Yeah.
Great. He's expecting us. He's got some information for us. It's Lindsay.
She-
Look.
She kind of looks at her clipboard and looks up at you and is like, mm-hmm.
I know, but we have the SFPD here with us, and we could make a big deal about it, but it's going to be a lot of paperwork for you if we have to sort of go that route. Meanwhile, if we let Detective Inez here just very quickly do what she needs to do back there, then maybe we can avoid, extra work for you.
Yeah, she like looks between like Inez, who's like 5 foot nothing, and then like looks at like Faye, who's like this like gorgeous she's like, okay, really? Like SFPD. This is probably like the worst lie you've ever told me, Alejandro. Why do you want Why do you want to see dead people?
This was not the unfortunate roadblock I was expecting.
Yeah, Inez will stride boldly forth. Like,
Get it.
Very, very casually, and just will pull out her badge, flash it nonchalantly, and put it back. It's like, Detective Flores, at your service. I need to examine 2 bodies here with my medical student, and so you will let us in.
Okay. I just didn't. I mean, okay, like it's weird how many medical students try to get into the coroner's office just all the time. Okay, no, I'm sorry. No, I do need. Okay. Yeah, no, like for sure, I do need you to sign in though. And she like pushes over like the clipboard, and it's like I have to, like even police or
Okay. That's fine.
No, just like
I'm all for following the rules.
Okay.
And she will very calmly and very neatly write her name.
Okay. No, I mean, like,
Okay.
I just thought, the police dropped off that body this morning, and I wasn't expecting, I just didn't have, right, okay, yeah, if you could just all sign in, and she'll push it.
I'll take the clipboard and I'll put my name down and I'll see if I'm just gonna look at the names, the rest of the names.
Sure, yeah,
Just in case.
you see like 3 names on there that you don't recognize, and as you would recognize them as just like your ambulance drivers that would drop people off, or
medical examiner, blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. You're on site. People who would drop off a body after a crime. She's like, okay, yeah, Daryl's down there, I guess.
Okay, all right. Could you lead us down, please?
Oh, I can't leave here. But if you just go through the doors and then make a left and then go down, and just keep going down, until you get scared, and then you're probably in the coroner's office.
Okay, great. Thank
Way
you.
ahead of you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Mhm.
Let's go.
It's Lindsay, but okay. Great. Thanks.
Lindsay, I apologize. We'll just start storming through those doors.
Yeah. And Lindsay is just like, oh my God. Like Barry's shuffles papers around to make her look very busy as you burst through the doors. And Alejandro, you've been in the coroner's office before.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll have to pull cadavers for medical school stuff, and there's that phase in medical school where they walk you around to all the kind of the different parts, and you're like, what's your field of interest? And the coroner's office was everyone's like, oh God, no. All the loser doctors end
Except
up
for that
here
one
'cause
guy,
they're already
right?
dead, right?
There's always one who's like,
There's
Yeah.
always one.
And then it's
yeah.
that's why Lindsay
That
sits
would
up
be
here
me.
and guards them day
Right.
and night.
Right. God, what ghouls we are.
Yeah, so you can very quickly lead them down to the coroner's office. And again, it's all, linoleum floors, that harsh white lighting, and just everything in here. No windows. The smell of formaldehyde creeps up the stairwell as you walk down the stairs. And when you reach that final level there that has the morgue and everything on it, the lights kind of flicker ominously. And again, that formaldehyde, just chemical smell. Everything here is cleaned so often. It's not great.
You really would think that of all the parts in the hospital to have broken down light bulbs, they would do so anyway. It's here. Daryl!
Yeah, and you make your way over towards the main lab, and you hear hey, and Daryl will he pops out of a doorway, and he's like, Alejandro, hey.
Hi, Daryl.
badge flash.
Yeah, he looks at your badge, and as he's like, oh, sorry. Okay. I didn't realize. Hey, my name's Daryl, and we'll like hold out his hand,
Sweet
towards
angel.
Inez.
And she'll shake his hand. So there are two individuals that we're looking for here
Oh,
today.
sorry.
One-
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. And he's gonna hold out his hand to Faye and be like, "Hi, my name's Daryl."
Hi.
He's such a sweet man.
I'm Faye. Sorry.
Are you are you a cop? Because you're like way too pretty to be a cop. Or I mean, not that. Oh, I mean,
Oh,
not that I'm saying you're not. And he looks at Inez and he's like, "Oh no."
well, I'm just,
Uh, wow. I know. Let's.
Don't worry, Daryl. You're not my type.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Daryl, it's okay. Why don't you go? Can you find us the Jane Doe from the harbor on hellfire Thursday night? Friday morning?
Yeah,
Morning.
Thursday. Morning. Yeah. Okay.
Could you bring us her? And then I think another one was brought in recently.
Yes.
Detective Flores. Which one?
By the name Sandy, a photographer, should have been in here today.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you go run grab them?
Yeah. Sorry. No.
It's okay, Daryl.
And he
It's
like
okay.
kind of like gives you a weird smile, Faye, and like looks
Okay.
like down at Inez, and it's like, oh my God. And then like just charges like off into the room.
ooh.
You start
He's
to
a
hear like clanging
nice
and
boy.
stuff. Yeah, they're still in the drawers if you want to just step in.
And so, well, I shall anyway.
Yeah. So this morgue you see in front of you, yeah, it's all steel and just cold tile and fluorescent lights and lots of medical instruments, lined up neatly and pristinely on these tabletops. You see big slabs where the corpses will go, and then just this wall of big steel drawers. And currently Daryl is working and pulling out two of the lower drawers right now. And as you kind of step inside, you just see, the pale white just flesh like bounces off the lighting here. And you see, yeah, two bodies covered by white sheets on each of these slabs.
Faye, are you sure that you want to be here with us right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can do it. I can do it.
Okay, I have no doubt that you can. Why don't we start with Sandy? Does that sound okay?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And Daryl like pulls back the sheet, covering her face. And you see, yeah, this girl, this kind of mousy, brown-haired girl that you recognize was like standing in the parlor, kind of trapped with you all not 24 hours ago. None of you really talked to her. She was very, very quiet. She seemed fascinated by, all the stuff in the Weaver house is all you remember of her. But she's lying there now, all the color drained from her face, just cold on this slab. Her hair's been like combed back away. And it's like,
Do you have the ME's report, Daryl, that we could have a look at?
yeah, I'm actually just filling it out right now.
Great. Great. Well, you can brief us then, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. And he looks again at Inez and just looks like really nervous and kind of like straightens up his like tie that he has and like pulls his coat over. He's like, yeah, we told PD everything we knew, this morning. I got a couple more details, more updates, but yeah, like we said, cause of death, still a little bit of a question mark. There are no wounds that I found, and he does the very professional thing where he's like kind of indicating to the body as he like explains what's happening, like no marks, exit wounds, entry wounds, anything like that that we could suspect. Her eyes, though, you will notice there's sort of and he like opens up the eyelids, and you see like over the gray filmy eye covering there's like sort of these reddish veins. He's like, there is some damage here, so perhaps some kind of blood outburst, aneurysm, something may have occurred. And you know what's also strange, and he takes like a pair of forceps off the counter and kind of like opens up her like nostrils. He's like, there are some markings here, as if there's some kind of damage. I'm not sure. She could have just been a heavy drug user. But
where were these? Sorry, where were these markings?
Inside her nostrils.
Inside her nostril. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Some kind of irritation or damage. Could mean something. Could mean nothing. But again, like in the case with victim number 1, brain matter is just gone. Just there's just nothing in there.
Did you happen to notice the same markings inside the nostrils of the Jane Doe?
Yes, identical in every way.
Interesting. Do you mind if I have a look?
Yeah, of course. And he just goes over, and flips back the sheet on Jane Doe, and Faye, you see, dots, pale, just now. I mean, she's been dead a couple days, so it's almost like got a leathery sort of quality to her skin. But it's her.
I'm in doctor mode right now. As much as I hate to admit it, I don't know that I'd be paying much attention to Faye. Oh, I hate it.
Neither is Daryl. He's just, and he begins to do the same thing and explain and point and like the same indication marks. And
yeah, Inez will go over and like put a nice like kind of rubbing hand on your shoulder and pat your back and be like, I know it's hard. It does, kitty. But this is her.
Yes. That's Dot. I just saw her on Thursday.
Yeah, I understand you all were really close. Being a band, that's a special kind of connection you have with someone.
We lived together.
Yeah. But we will figure out what happened to her, and we will make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else. And we'll get through this. But it's better that we know, right?
Yes.
yeah, and for like the first time, Daryl kind of notices like what's happening in the room and like looks over at you, Alejandro, and just like these like wide, sort of desperate eyes, like.
Oh shit, Faye, are you?
I'm okay. I can do it.
Okay.
I can do it.
We're gonna figure it out though.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna be more skilled than the Emmy or than any of the doctors that have been in here. But is there anything like with any of the? I don't know. Is there anything that I noticed about these marks in the nose? It's sort of the only thing we have to go on because I can't examine their brains.
They are
so it's
not
the
there.
only sort of, they are not there. It's the only other similarity aside from the missing brains between the two of them that we have to go on. Is there anything that jumps out at me aside from the fact that they both have them?
Why don't you go ahead and make an occult check for me?
All right. Here's the dice.
Kaylee, what?
Ooh, these
Kaylee's
are
making an
hot.
Egypt connection.
Yeah.
Faye doesn't have that knowledge.
Yeah.
Same. so I'm trying to be like, I don't know. Okay, but this is a 14. My occult's a 20.
Nice.
Okay, there
So
you
that'll
go.
do.
Wow.
These I am
Don't forget to check
terrified
these off
of-
also,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, I'm real worried about how the rest of these next two episodes are going to go because they've been hot tonight, and that's never a good sign for me.
Yeah, so it does occur to you that you have heard something about mummification in ancient Egypt. You do know that, like, traditionally, when they make mummies, they actually just throw away the brains on mummies. That's not something they retrieve. You know, in canopic jars, things like the heart and the liver and the lungs are saved. But yeah, the brain was just always like, pulled out through the nose via hook and like disposed of. Or at least that's the theory of why mummies have never been found with brains. So that's sort of the working scientific hypothesis, that the brain just wasn't important for some reason in these mummification cases. And that like just screams you. The nose thing is very weird.
Yeah.
To you. Yeah. But, the rest of the organs are there. Nothing else is, removed. There's no damage.
They also are not... Well, that's right. Okay. So I think that is the only good piece of information that we are going to find on these bodies, because otherwise they're untouched. Daryl, thank you so much. Detective Flores, is there anything else that you would like to find out here, that you want me to look into, that you have questions for Daryl? Because if not, I think we can probably, and just, eyes sort of keeping an eye on Faye, I think we can probably be done here.
Good. Yeah, just tell me what you figured out in the car, and yeah, I think we should head to Sandy's apartment.
Well, sorry, Faye.
No, please.
If you do know who this is, I would love to get her name and last name for.
Yeah, I was gonna do that before we left. Don't worry, I'll give you a place to reach her family. I think her brother.
If you could fill out this form, and he like looks at you, and he's like, sorry, I don't.
No, it's okay.
I don't really deal with patients who talk back. I mean, not that like in a bad way. I'm just
gonna take Daryl's hand for a second.
Yeah.
And just, it's okay. This is my first time too.
Okay. No. Okay. Yeah. Here. Sorry. Could you just?
Yeah.
And he like wipes a wrist across his sweaty forehead and puts together a clipboard for you with a pen and is like, just whatever.
You're doing great, Daryl. You're doing great.
Oh, bless him. I'm gonna get a call from his mother.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just fill that out. And...
Sure.
Yeah, and he'll wait for you to kind of do that, and he's like, Nez, do you have a? I'm sorry, Detective Flores. If you have a card or something, I can happily give you a call as well. I'm also gonna give the station a call, but if we come across anything else, we're still waiting back on some tox reports, things like that. But I can.
I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good day. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Daryl.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, and you can make a hasty exeunt.
Oh, pursued by awkward. All right, and we're heading to the studio.
Yes.
What do you all want to?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll. I guess we'll hail another cab, and on the way, I will update these two as to my theories about the connection with mummification in Egypt, based on everything that I also saw in the notes from Marco. I don't know. I don't know where that leads us, but there's definitely a connection to Egyptian occult in particular here. between all of the sort of advanced geometric shapes that we saw, which lines up with a lot of the impressive architecture of the Egyptians, to the hieroglyphs that I found in the notes, to the possible steps of mummification on the two women. Somebody is I don't even know, but Egypt. That's all I got.
Yeah, perhaps this is some kind of cult thing that's going on that maybe Marcus got mixed up in.
Marco is his
Marco.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marco got mixed up in, and perhaps.
Well, let's see what we can find at Sandy's studio and hope that maybe Alice will have something for us afterwards. Maybe something from the notes.
Sure.
Do you know?
How
sorry.
long was the trip to the morgue?
Not very long. You were there maybe 40 minutes.
Great.
All told.
Sorry. Go ahead, Faye.
Do you know if there are reptilian figures in? I don't know. This, because that's what attacked me, right?
I think so. I mean, we couldn't see it in the moment, but I think so. Now, as I recall, wait, hold on. Am I crazy? Is Horus the alligator?
No.
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 Which one's the
There's
alligator?
Horus is the falcon-headed god.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the falcon. That's right.
He's
Okay.
a burb.
Just because you specifically mentioned Horus, and if I'd seen a statue of an alligator up in Alice's place, I would have just jumped in.
You
But
definitely did not see an alligator.
Okay.
Statue.
Okay.
If you would like, Alejandro, you can go ahead and make me an occult roll to see if you know anything. But I will say this is at a very difficult level because it's not one of
ooh,
the.
no,
Yeah. No.
that's a 93.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You're like,
No,
I
okay.
don't know. I mean, you know that there are lots of different like animal inspired gods. So you're
Right.
like, maybe there is one, but you just don't happen to know. You don't
Yeah.
have that kind of familiarity with
Right.
Egyptology to say.
Yeah. Well, Alice did say that she knew an Egyptologist right back at the house. So
Mhm.
we will certainly ask that person when we get the opportunity. But that's definitely good thinking, because that was the weird creature in the painting that is somehow missing from the painting. So,
Yeah, and at this point, the cabbie's like, "Wow, that's some
Oh shit.
that's some crazy shit." Jesus, is this a movie you're writing or something? Because it's good. I'd see it.
yeah, we are we're actually working on a novel together about
that's
this is the
wild.
plot.
But
It's,
maybe we'll turn it into a picture too.
No, that's you
Mhm.
know, those talkies, you know, they got some wild plots, you know.
yeah,
this is
very
good.
very
Yeah,
easy-
like that curse of the mummy stuff. Yeah, it sounds like what you're.
exactly. That's what
Yeah.
we're kind of going with.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I read about that. So, yeah, no. It's good. Like it.
Good thinking.
All right. Well, you're at your destination. You know what? That was a great story. Don't even bother with the tip. That was best fare I've had all day.
We'll make sure you get an invitation to the premiere of the picture.
Yeah, you know, my cab number, you know, number 33027. Yeah.
Keep you in mind.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, you have a good day. Good luck with your picture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. No. He drives off into the
These
sunset.
cab drivers are the best
They're
NPCs.
the best.
Yeah. So You get dropped off in front of this studio that doesn't look like much. It's one of those buildings that's like it's a bunch of buildings inside one other building, so you call into the different floors and the different studios. So there's no kind of police tape or presence or anything, just on the outside of this building here.
Well, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah. As you step in, you can scroll down and you see, Sandy's photography on the buzzer, and you can scroll in here, and there's this horrible like sound as the door opens up and somebody lets you in. Yeah.
Fantastic. Head on up there to that apartment.
Of course, you have to climb up 3 flights of steps on these rickety staircases, like this horrible brown carpeting that probably hasn't been changed in 30 years. Smells just musty and terrible. And as you see at the very end of the hall here, there is a door that has been cordoned off with kind of caution tape at this point. And you do see that the door is wide open on this big studio space, and somebody is kind of like walking back and forth in the room taking notes.
Ines will stride up first and be like, pick out like one of the people who are like putting shit in bags. It's like, Carl, hey,
Hey bud, what's up?
Just finally spoke to Frank and heard about the Vic who was found here, and coming to do the thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just here at the paperwork phase, so that's not great. Carl speaks a little bit too loudly because he was like by a helicopter like explosion a few years ago, so his hearing has been like just not great.
Yeah.
I mean, take a look around if you want. The corpse is gone, though.
Yeah,
we
we just came from the morgue, so we're good. I just wanna get a
for sure.
Who she was.
We're all pretty much done here, so we'll clear out if you want to do a walk.
Cool.
I know
Yeah.
you are Inez. Details. What do they call you down in that pool hole? Shark guy? Nope. No, I'll get it.
Yeah.
Gumshoe Garcia. That's what they call you, Gumshoe. No, I'll get out of the way for Gumshoe. All right, everybody, let's load out. He like screams in the room, and everybody's just like, Jesus Christ, Carl. Like,
we're so loud.
We're so loud. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna leave you the keys, and he kind of like throws them off. He's like, just gotta lock up before you go. All right, let's move out. And the 2 other people,
Alejandro and Faye, into the room.
Yeah, he kind of gives them a look, and he's like, good friend, Inez, you can trust her for anything. Good stuff.
Let's get a drink on Thursday. Come play pool with me.
What?
You can be on my team.
Hell yeah! I got you anytime.
And like give a big thumbs up.
Yeah, he's like, yeah! And leads, the other 2 investigators out. So you are left alone in the studio.
So your go-to for the covert missions, for the stakeouts, that guy.
Oh yeah. No.
Wow.
There's a reason he's just cleanup crew after the EMTs have already left.
Yeah, after World War II, Carl was never really quite the same. But we got what we. World War One, I mean.
World War One.
Yeah, okay, I was like, wait a minute.
We're still a few years away.
Well, there definitely were not helicopters because they had not been invented. But
Combustion engine exploded by Carl's head.
Diesel punk. All right.
Science. This is
yes. Fantastic. And all of that. All right, let's take a look around.
See, when we do this as a podcast and I release it later, I'll cut out me saying helicopter, and I'll seem very smart.
We'll seem so cool.
Yeah. All right. So this studio, space is kind of open up in front of you, and honestly, like just looking, there's like this big open room here that you see is, it's painted all white, and it has like a couple of very like clunky, horrible like lighting fixtures to move around. And then like there's a couple doors off here. One is like a small kind of kitchenette area, and then there's a big dark room. In the back, you can see there's like drawn curtains over everything, just all the hallmarks of somebody who develops their own film, as was the time. So the studio actually has kind of a weird metallic smell to it, just from all the chemical solutions for developing.
Yeah. Oh man, I know that smell well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely head to the dark room and take a look at if there are any photos that have been left up, and get the idea of her work, because making the connection with images of maybe being how this thing gets around.
Yeah. Why don't you all go ahead and give me some spot hidden checks?
Gladly. Oh, nice. That is a 33, which is definitely less than 70.
Okay.
I don't have anything in spot hidden. Oh, I missed it by 2. I made it a 27.
But I got
so
a-
close.
But I got a 15
Whoa. Okay, so
for my spot
Alejandro
hidden.
and Inez just rocking in the house tonight.
I'm
Faye,
distraught.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a check
Aw.
mark next
Yeah.
to spot hidden.
Faye,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like that's because you definitely have reason to be distracted. So as you're like looking, what is Faye doing?
I think right now I'm distracted by looking around and trying to find the place where Sandy fell, and kind of zeroing in on where she died, and kind of sent back to the morgue and not really able to come back to where I am right now. The
Yeah.
present moment is just not important.
Yeah, so you're sort of staring at this like chalk outline on this like shitty linoleum that Sandy has put down, and you just can't seem to tear yourself away from it. And Alejandro, where are you looking? Inez is like beelined to the dark room.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense for where she would go. The rest of the room, is any of her, oh my god, words, is any of her work up in the rest of the studio?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So you look up like at on that kind of reception opening wall, like where guests would step into the studio. There's a big collection of her framed work, so people can like see what they're in for. And as you're looking at it, it's mostly like a bunch of portraits, and they're very nice. They're not like outstanding by any means,
Sure.
but it's like great, like serviceable professional photography, or like there's families. You're looking at it all. You're like pretty decent work. And then there's one that just totally doesn't match anything else here. It's this perfectly square portrait of just this series of columns that just stretch
Oh no.
into infinity, and
Oh,
these sort
no.
of weird angular marble columns, and you're like, oh god, it's something all too well, but it's so weird because it's a photo.
Right.
It's a photo of whatever
Ooh.
this place is, and it's like this little like 6-inch by 6-inch square thing in the middle of all of these family portraits. So you kind of fixate in as you find that, and then Inez, you are looking at this dark room here, and it's pristine. Sandy was a professional who's very good at her job. And as you see these like hanging strings right now of these drying kind of negatives, you start to look through them, and you see this column palisade sort of thing that you've seen before, and you see this lizard serpent thing like standing in the middle of it, and you look, and it's like snap after snap after snap after snap like of this thing. And as you look at it, you see the figure. You have to look back again because it seems to grow bigger like in the image, and you like look to the next one and it's bigger and you're like, was it that close before? And then the last one as it comes and it's full screen and you can see the set of eyes, and suddenly it's not there, and you hear a sound coming from behind you as something lets out this serpentine hiss. And that's where we're gonna end for
No, 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 no!
today!
Oh my god!
Uh-oh!
We need Inez. She's the only one who can take care of us.
Uh-oh, Call of
Truly.
Cthulhu! Ah! Thank you all so much for joining
shit.
us for another
good
episode
shit.
of Call of Cthulhu.
Woo.
Damn, I had a great time.
Yeah.
Thank you all so
That
much
was
for being
excellent.
here. I'm scared and I did it. I don't know. Thank
I
you,
love that.
everybody, so much for tuning in. I have been Celeste Konowich, your lore keeper. Let's go around the table and say where everybody can find you out in the world, you lovely folks. So let's start with you, Eugenio.
Hey everybody, I'm Eugenio. You can find me on the Twitters at DMJazzyHands. Good place to find all the stuff that I do. I am the DM and producer of an actual play D&D podcast, not the Venture Maidens, almost as awesome, not quite. It's called The Last Refuge.
is great.
It's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
How dare you?
Thanks. I mean, I really like it. So yeah, it's called The Last Refuge. You can check us out at DND Last Refuge on Twitter. We have canceled our hiatus that we were supposed to have in between seasons so that we can continue putting out content every week because that's important right now. Always, but right now in particular. So we're gonna have a new episode dropping tomorrow to start off our 6th season. Very exciting. Whole new area for our adventures to go in. So you can check that out at D&D Last Refuge. Also, with the free time that I find, I've been streaming some video games on my Twitch channel, so you can find that at twitch.tv/DMJazzyHands. And tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, sorry, West Coasters, I am going to be on a Classics on Twitch presentation of Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. There's
Ooh.
yeah,
Who are
there's
you
5 of
playing?
us. I'm playing Duke Orsino.
Yay!
Nice.
Oh, so good.
I'm super excited. There's 5 of us that are going to share out the parts. We've each got like a big principal, and then we'll sort of fill in with the other roles. But it's going to be me and Kelly, the opera geek, and Katie Face, Simon from Wandering DM, and then it's being hosted by Dee. And I never get her Twitch channel right, but anyway, check my Twitter. It's on there. It's Praxagora. Anyway, check my Twitter. It's going to be super fun. We're just going to be reading it just to get some classic theater out there since, live theater is going to be a little while before we get to do that again. So yeah, that's me.
Heck yeah, and Kaylee, where can the folks find you?
Hello. Yes, you can find me at Hoppa Barbarian on Twitter and Kaylee McBray on Instagram. And I make the show Danzel's Dice and Everything Nice. You can find our 2 episodes on YouTube right now and just follow us on Dice and Nice on all the socials. Also, I'm a glutton for punishment for Disney parodies, so I have been locked in my house. So there's another one coming
Yeah!
soon. Very, very soon. So look out for that. Follow me on Twitter.
Heck yeah. And Sage, where can the people find you?
Yes, hello, I'm Sage, and I've been Detective Inez. I can be followed at Staff of Sage on all of your social platforming. And tomorrow, March 25th, I will be running our Descent into Avernus game, on which Celeste is one of my players, playing a wonderful tiefling.
She's
And
wonderful. It's questionable.
Oh man, it's like our second day in hell, and shit's about to get really fucking real.
I'm
so excited.
I've been so excited all week because things got so bad last time, and then I'm just I'm very excited.
We're gonna we should be able to do everything that I imagine tomorrow, but if we do, we're gonna get to my 2 favorite encounters of the entire book, and I'm so excited.
Oh,
Is
I
it a
want to
wreck
know what they
house?
are.
I know.
Yes.
Shit. All right. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Celeste Konowich. I am a Dungeons and Dragons designer, writer out there in the world. So you can find me on Venture Maidens, which is alternating Wednesdays here. Dungeon mastering for that. Of course, you can find me on Descent into Avernus. I do want to tell you right now, I am running a Kickstarter that is 92% funded, and we launched this Kickstarter at the worst time in the world for everything happening. So we are just hoping and praying we can get funded so we can give folks a well-needed payday for all the artists and writers involved. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Hair. It's all about bringing new subclasses, magic items, monsters, races, everything.
Super
Over
cool.
60 pages of content to Dungeons and Dragons, all based around the theme of hair. So think like the mustache copter spell. Think about it.
Yes.
Think about like were-lions. Think about like woven braid dolls that come to life, and it's amazing. Demons that have braids bursting out of their chest. It's amazing. So please check it out. It's a great time. We also have a YouTube game we did with all the like demo content on there. It was fabulous that Sage was a part of. It was such a good
so
time.
much fun.
I
It
lost
was
my
very
voice
cool.
for days because of all the outrageous opera voices I did for that game. So please check that out. But yeah, if you want to see anything else I'm doing, check out CelesteConowitch.com or follow me at CConowitch. But you all are amazing, and boy, we only have 2 more episodes left of this campaign.
I
So
want more.
Me too.
Mike is about to drop. But I'm so glad you all are starting to figure it out.
Yeah, it's so cool. I have to
cool.
compliment you because it's really hard to do tabletop role-playing game mysteries, right? Because like you have to find that balance between like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I'm gonna make a roll, and like I don't want to cheat and use meta knowledge, whatever. But my compliments to you. You've done a great job of like crafting it in a way that like the balance is very good so far. So thank you.
Oh, thank you all for playing. I can't wait to see what happens next time. So we will be
Me
back on. Oh God. 2 weeks from now. It's not off.
I don't know. 30th past May. It's April 7th.
April 7th. We will be back. But until then.
Cthulhu